Hey everyone, just a quick reminder, be on the lookout for the Beer Aficionado, aka Doug Valicki's charity auction that he is doing with the Insiders Roundtable that lets you be an insider for a day. You can come on the show, pick which topics we discuss, even which guests are on with you. And all proceeds go to Laurie's Children's Hospital. So head on over to the Beer Aficionado's site and get more information about that.
Today is Tuesday, June 18th, and you're listening to the Beer Temple Podcast.
Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again. Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again.
Hello, and welcome to the Beer Temple Podcast. I'm your co-host, Mike Shalau from Is Was Brewing, and I'm here with your other co-host and Fade Master for the day.
That's right.
Chris Quinn.
That's right. Would have never known.
Yeah, that
Fading
was
in and out.
maybe your best yet.
Yeah. So I'm halfway there. I
Mhm.
usually screw up on the second fade. Of
You're
the
a
night.
fade. You're not a master yet.
Right.
Yeah, and we'll see how the fade
Yeah.
out goes.
We'll see how the
Yeah,
fade
sure
out goes. So,
Mhm.
but I'm doing well.
Good.
So yeah, it's just the two of us.
It's a solo bolo
Yes, solo
As
bolo.
they say
My
in the
second
biz.
solo bolo
in the last 2
in
weeks.
the last 2 weeks. But you know, I'm a pro. So
You are a pro.
literally, we are the definition of not pros.
Yeah, right.
Because we do not get paid for this.
This is
we are
our
amateurs.
Our side hustle that doesn't make us money.
Or effing amateurs,
Yeah.
dude.
We're the best effing amateurs, though.
We're the best effing
Mhm.
amateurs.
At least we have an ethos.
Yeah. There's some people having a good time in the room next to us. So
As they
we'll
should.
hear-
It's a bar.
There's worse sounds. There's worse background noises to have than people enjoying themselves.
Name two.
Two worse ones.
Yeah,
Road construction
that's worse.
and dentistry being performed.
Yeah.
Those would be worse.
Yeah, that you nailed it.
Yeah.
Excellent job.
Yeah.
You
Both
crushed the
involve
prompt.
drills and
Mhm.
drilling.
Yeah, I was at Beguile 'cause we're still brewing out there for a while today, and they're redoing the floor above Beguile,
Oh boy.
and I was only there for about an hour, and it was brutal.
Hellacious.
It was tough, dude.
It can be bad.
It was
Yeah.
really tough because I put headphones in, walked in, and I didn't realize what was happening, and then stuff started falling from the ceiling, and then it was just like banging. They were drilling holes in the ceiling right above where I was
Man.
trying to take gravity. So it was great.
The
The joys of running a small business.
Well, thank you for making it here for tonight.
You know, I wouldn't miss it for the world, Chris.
Yeah, you're the only other one other than me, who could get their butts over here to do this.
That's
but
why we're
whatever.
friends, bud.
Yeah. But thanks to you and to everyone who's listening on WLPN or wherever you catch this show. Thanks for all the reviews and the ratings and so on and so forth. And the letters. We have a letter that we'll be reading.
Yeah, good letter.
So thanks to everyone out there. And yeah, I think we should probably, it's just the two of us. We should probably get right into it.
Do you want to talk about beers we've been drinking recently?
I think we probably
is
should.
that getting right into it?
We
Or
should.
is that pre-getting right into it? I'm never quite sure.
Well, I don't know that. I do know I went up to Michigan this weekend.
Nice.
The bad thing about that was I missed the Half Acre 15 celebration. So I didn't get to go there. It was at Half Acre.
1,500 different versions of Daisy Cutter.
They're doing 15,000 versions of Daisy
My bad,
Cutter.
I missed the zero.
1,000 for every year it's been around.
Right. That's what craft beer does these days.
Yeah. Mhm. And they're trying to be cool like the kids.
Yeah.
But I knew some Sierra Nevada people were going to be here, and I figured it was, maybe the Midwest rep and the local Chicago reps and stuff like that. Apparently, oh boy, I think Mike Michael Grossman was
Ken Grossman's son.
yes, who runs the Mills River Brewery.
Wow.
Was here and came to the beer temple and
Was asking about the podcast.
asked about the podcast.
Uh-huh.
Wanted to be in.
Yep.
We luckily had Sierra Nevada Summerfest on draft.
Let's
which was
go.
Cool.
Big shout out to Steven.
Yes. And I considered I have to admit if it had been Ken, I would have come back. This is not joking.
No,
I would have come back from Michigan.
Yeah.
I would have come back from Michigan.
You would have left your family in Michigan.
But I did say get a picture.
Get
a picture of him. So we got a cool picture of him and Max. So
very cool.
So that was cool of him
Very
holding up
cool.
a Summerfest. And so that's neat.
Did you ask him why?
Well, I wasn't there, but yeah.
Yeah, good point. Never mind.
Yeah.
We know why. The question I was going to ask.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's not his fault.
We
Goodwill Hunting style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just hold him and say it's not your fault. Over and over
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. I don't know. I'm not catching the reference.
When you guys used to have like 2-week-old Sierra Nevada come in all the time.
Yeah, man. Had I been there enough, that is something that I know I physically couldn't keep myself from talking
no
about.
way. No way.
I would have had to do it.
You're like, you can ship them right directly here. It'd be fine.
right. I mean, you guys agreed to it before. Isn't it a shame that the distributors don't want to do that?
Yeah.
I wish someone could do something about it, but I guess we're both powerless, huh? I mean, neither you and I could do anything. Man. Yeah. Anyway, I wish somebody had power.
Wow, look at that. I guess we have a different pale ale on now, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. That was cool. Yeah, I was up in Michigan and loaded up some beers. Boy, oh boy. I drank a lot of beer on Saturday. Man. As many beers in a day as I can remember having.
Whoa.
It was one of those things where you can't drink all day unless you start in the morning.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
and
all day.
What are we talking here? Just breakfast stouts all day?
Well, no, I guess I drank all day. I paused from beer to have Bloody Mary in the morning, and then I had 3 mojitos.
Wait.
In
You
the
paused
early
from
evening.
beer to have a Bloody
No,
Mary?
that's not true.
Okay.
My only break from beer were 3 mojitos, which actually my beer drinking suffered from that because I started getting too drunk and had to take an hour and a half just to sober up. And then I continued drinking again, beer, which I have a better handle on. But I had a lot. I don't usually.
You drove home to meet Mike Grossman.
Yeah, no, that was
JK.
the day before. That was the
JK.
day before. But where I was at Seeds when I heard that news.
Mm-hmm.
They make very nice, clean beer.
Ryan.
Yeah. And
my
Ryan.
buddy.
Yeah, Ryan was up there.
So Ryan Zaccario, which means seed.
Huh.
Yeah, I asked him one time, what's up with the seeds with the Z at the end? He's like, well, it's my last name means. And there's I put the Z at the end of it. That's what he told me, at least. I don't know. We were drinking a lot.
Okay. He was very nice. After I closed out the
strong
tab,
mullet.
He came and he had a hat on, and he ran out 2 bottles for me. One was an aged, I think it was a tank-aged barley wine, which is very nice. I drank it that night. And then another was a Saison, which I meant to bring to this show, but I forgot.
Thank you.
So thank you to Ryan.
Great guy.
Man, so listen to what they had. I'm not going to get this. I'm going to miss some of these. They had a light lager, a house lager,
Mm-hmm.
a Czech dark lager,
Mm-hmm.
a Keller beer,
Mm-hmm.
a German Pils,
Yep.
a North German Pils,
Let's go.
and some kind of Helles as well.
Yeah.
And I think I might have missed one as well. But that's at least
Probably.
7 lagers that
Pretty
they
good,
had
right?
on. I mean, it's a lot. They've
Yeah.
covered
Bunch of mixed
all the
culture
bases.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
They had 2 Saisons, I think. They had an Irish. stout, hazy. Yeah.
Their place is great. We've long had discussions about how our mutual love of Suarez. So there's some Suarez influence on things going up there, and we've made cold beers with Ryan, and one of my favorite people. To be honest. Yeah, really lovely. Great mullet.
He had 2 normal taps. He had 4 of the ones that have the little like they look like those like perpetual motion machines of the birds dipping down. Those little machines where the bird like dips into the water. He had like 4 or 5 of those.
Yeah.
4 Lucers and a nitro.
Yeah. Does he have a cask up there? Cask engine?
Yeah, but it wasn't on.
Gotcha.
I went up there and I saw they had a bunch of firkins, like empty firkins in his warehouse because you can see there was a window.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, that's the first thing I asked. They're like, no, we don't have anything.
Yeah.
But maybe next time. Yeah. So that's I had some very solid beer. Now, the beer that I've had most recently that I've had a couple beers that I've liked a lot. The Daisy Cutter Select collab with Sierra Nevada.
Double IPA, right?
Yeah, but it's like a old-fashioned double IPA.
Like low 8%.
8%, 8 even.
Had it as well.
Very good beer.
Very good.
That beer is great.
Shocker, though, right? Like those 2 breweries making a good hoppy beer together.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. And then Middlebrow, one of their longest produced beers or is Bright Lights, I believe, or is it White Light? White Light.
Banger of a beer, an apricot wit beer, correct?
Yeah, it's a good beer. This batch in particular, unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's great. I bought a 4-pack. I brought. I went to Bungalow twice and had it. And friend of the show, Pete, was there. We were talking about it. He's like, it's all about the apricots and how they're tasting. And then
apricots are tough too, especially if you're trying to use like local apricots here.
Mm-hmm.
We've been open for 5 years, and 2 of the 5 years there just wasn't an apricot harvest of any size where we could.
He gets his from out west.
Oh, okay.
That's what he's telling me. Yeah.
All right, Pete.
I don't know if I should be saying that or not, but whatever. Someone could have overheard us saying it. It was said in public.
I mean, he's telling people.
Yeah. So I had that. Then I got a 4-pack here and brought that up to Michigan, and that was great. And then we bought a half barrel, and it was awesome. It's nice working with a smaller distributor and a smaller brewery.
Heartland, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And they made sure that we got it directly from Middlebrow to make sure it was the same batch that I had that I really liked. I mean, how cool is that? So I'm really excited for that to come on because it's great beer.
Yeah, fantastic.
Banger of a beer, as
Love
you would
that
say.
Beer. Yeah.
If Guy Fieri had it, he would say it's banging.
Yeah, it's the chief beer of Flavor Town is what Guy Fieri would say.
Yeah. I mean, it's the chicken tendies of beer.
I don't know if that's a Guy Fieri thing. That's more of a Roaring Kitty.
I don't know who that is, but
you know who Roaring joke. Kitty is?
No, I don't.
The guy who started all the GameStop stuff.
Oh, God.
The tendies are coming in, dude.
Yeah. I've got some thoughts on tendies.
On the actual chicken tender, the food product, or on the
What's the other thing?
Returns on YOLO investments.
Oh no, that I don't have as many thoughts on. Important things that could make me money. No, I have no thoughts on that.
What are your thoughts on tendies?
Things like Lucers or things that really do nobody any harm. That I have a lot of thoughts on.
Wait, we've never dug into your thoughts on tendies.
Why would anyone ever dig into my?
It's just you and me on this show, and
I
wanted to learn more about you, Chris. What are your thoughts on tendies?
Okay, I'm trying to adjust the levels here. This is the first time I've ever done mid show level adjustments. It's great.
Adding to your skill
I think
set.
they're. Oh boy, I'm really gonna make some enemies.
Let's go.
This is like what I do for no reason. If I just shut my mouth and didn't say my stupid opinions. All right.
Not a way to
here's
have a
what I think.
podcast, though.
Tendies.
Yeah.
They're for children. Chicken tenders are for children.
I don't think anyone disputes that.
Chicken nuggets, chicken tenders, they are for children.
Yeah.
It's child
Who
food.
do you think you're upsetting there?
Well, here's what
I eat chicken tenders every once in a while.
I do not. I've stopped. See, the thing is, the difference I think between you and me though is I have children.
Yeah.
So they get them all the time. So I'll bite one or two.
Right.
Or if they don't finish them, I'm like, Jesus, you've got like 3 giant chicken tenders you didn't eat at all.
Yeah.
You filled up on fries, and so I'll eat some, and they're not that good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then I've seen them try to become like adultified, and also like try to take the place of one of like bone-in chicken, and it's just like no,
Kick rocks
No.
on that. Yeah.
no, it's not as good,
Chickens have bones.
right? Like, or take the place
I'll
of
die on that
wings,
hill.
like yeah, like
I think boneless buffalo wings are worse than chicken tenders, though.
never had one in my life.
Yeah, I probably have, but
No.
it's a.
But they have like, you can get like boneless wings or or buffalo wings or buffalo tenders, and it's like if you get buffalo tenders, like you drink like Fruit Force Voodoo Ranger, and see how I get people angry. Yeah.
Well, the thing is also like you could just say your opinion, but then you also
Well, here,
you
chicken
dig into the
tenders,
psychology of the
canes,
person that you're
canes,
you're just.
and then there's also
So here's the thing about canes, though.
but hold on,
It's one of those. It's a food that for some reason I have a craving for when I'm very hungover. It's Coca-Cola, and then it's Raisin Canes are the two things that like I never drink soda ever unless I'm very hungover, and then I never
Coca-Cola's
eat chicken
good.
tenders unless I'm very hungover. So I go there when I'm really hungover and I eat. It doesn't help. It doesn't help.
Amazing.
But there are the things I crave, and so I give them to my body, and then my body hates me more.
I usually
for
go to
it.
a diner. Diners for me are good.
Those are corned beef hash is another good.
I
good
get
hangover food.
I like get like breakfast food, like but usually like we don't need to talk about that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
But yeah, so the tendies, my wife is going to Nashville with her sisters, and there's a severe difference in the places she wants to go and where they want to go. Because she wants to go to, is it like the Wayman
Toby Keith's
Auditorium?
Ryman Auditorium.
Ryman Auditorium. Like, and she got tickets there.
Cool.
And there's another like there's a couple like amazing restaurants there that I've been to with her. And
they want to go to McDougal's.
they want to go. I mean, Kobe Teeth does have a place. It's called like
Kid
I
Rock
love
has a
this.
place, too.
I love this bar and grill.
Yeah.
You know his song.
But also a grill
Exactly. I love this bar and grill.
because of capitalism.
But she her one sister wants to go to Lainey Wilson's Bell Bottoms Up. I'm sure that's a reference to something.
What is that?
I don't know. Listen to this.
About Loves. Is Loves on there?
So
Not Loves.
Loves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gas station. No, that's a
The gas station.
no. There was something Loves something where that was great fried chicken when I was living there. I lived there for 2 months when I was in college.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple places that have great fried chicken.
Yeah, there's one specifically that we went to.
The cafeteria place?
No.
No. Okay.
This was like a sit down restaurant.
Okay.
They have great meat and threes.
Monell's is one of my favorite
Monell's
places.
is great. Yeah.
So they're going there too. But here are there's Kobe Teeth, aka Toby Keith. There's
It's a big
Miranda Lambert.
No,
There's
boo.
Jason Aldean
These are you're just saying
Kid
country
Rock.
singers. They all have bars and
in Nashville. Jimmy
Cool.
Buffett.
Margaritaville.
Yeah.
They're going to Margaritaville.
No, I'm just listening.
Oh, I thought this was the
Luke
list.
Guy, Dirks.
Luke Bryan.
Yeah, maybe Dirks Bentley,
Mm-hmm.
Florida Georgia Line, Alan Jackson, Gavin and Joey Gaw, I guess, Blake Shelton, Lainey Wilson. They all have celebrity restaurants there. So I said to my wife, lean in at that point. Like,
Yeah.
because she's like, I want to go there.
100%.
And then the other person's like, I want to go to this person's bell bottoms up,
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Every meal has to be at a celebrity restaurant. And you have to see how many of them. This is what I see. This is what I said. Well, I'm going to pull up my phone and look at literally what I said.
They all have chicken fingers.
I said, for real, what if every meal is a celebrity restaurant? That would be amazing. See how many of them have chicken tenders on the adult menu.
There we go. Okay, so are they app chicken tenders or are they entree chicken tenders?
I mean,
because all those places have the same menu, right?
Right.
It's all the same restaurant group that convinced them, like, hey, we'll
pay
you
stealing the other
fee.
Ones, like, right?
We'll pay you a licensing fee, and we'll put the same. There's gonna be a pulled pork sandwich. There's gonna be a burger. I don't know how prolific the smash burger is. Probably a smash burger.
It'll be a smash burger.
Maybe Toby Keith has a pub burger or like a off the grill burger.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the TK burger. He's got the All American burger.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the Who's Your Daddy, which is a spicy fried chicken. Of course, you're gonna have Nashville chicken there.
Yeah, I gotta have Nashville hot chicken.
Yeah. And some sort of brisket sandwich.
Yep.
Yeah. So, whatever.
Yeah. When I lived there in like 2010, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
None of that stuff was there. It was starting to happen, but I haven't been back since. And
jeez, you can get a ribeye. You can get a ribeye at Kobe Teeth's.
How much is the ribeye at Kobe Keith's? What's the beer list looking like at Toby Keith's?
I don't know. Probably
you're on the website right now.
No, this was a screen grab I got of it earlier.
Oh, okay.
Of I Love This Bar and Grill, which is really what it's called. But anyway, he's got several of them. It's a chain.
Good for him.
Had.
Is he? Oh, he died.
Yeah, he died.
I'm like, oh no, they closed. That's even worse. He died.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, whatever. We'll leave that one be.
Mm-hmm.
That I will shut my mouth for.
Kobe Teeth.
Yep.
So
anyway, that's
Tooth Mamba.
So that's all I got to say about chicken tenders.
Yeah.
But that was a beer. That was a beer. Those are two beers that I really like. A beer that I'm looking forward to having is the one from Seeds. And another one. Friend of the show, recent guest, the beer aficionado, a.k.a. the beer cruncher, a.k.a. Nostra Douglas. Forget if he has any other names, but he is
Doug
in... Duh. Yes. It was a joke.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
So he's with his family out west, and he was at Alvarado Street, which they make amazing beer.
Yeah.
And I saw he put out a post that he really liked the XPA from them.
Nice.
And I asked if he could bring a can back with them. So if that happens, I'm very excited to try the Alvarado Street
You're
XPA.
Big XPA guy now.
Yeah, big XPA dude, bro.
That was for us.
Yeah, that was for us. I'm a big XPA guy, bro, dude. So how about you? Anything you're looking forward to?
Recently, I was out at Goldfinger. We were making a collaboration beer, which I'm very excited about.
Getting your collab on.
Collabing. We're taking our Wilby recipe and kind of hellicifying it, lagerifying it, decocting it, changing the hopping around a little bit, changing the malt bill around a little bit. But the soul of Wilby as a lager with a lager yeast made by some of the best lager brewers that I know. Maybe the best lager brewers that I know, for sure. Got it.
So taking Wilby, but like giving it some like market appeal.
having someone want to drink it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Um,
Perfect.
yeah, by
That's
using
just what that beer
by
needs.
using someone else's brand cachet, ideas, techniques, and facility.
Yeah, that's
so
great.
Really, I'm doing the heavy lifting on this one.
Yes, exactly. Shout out to Tom, hurt his back, by the way. Yeah. Anyway, but you're looking forward to having
the beer that I had recently that I loved. OG, like he sent me home with a bunch of beers, and that is, I think, maybe my favorite beer.
Really?
Yeah, it's just climbed the charts.
The original lager.
Yeah, I was famously on an episode with him, on a one-on-one episode. We both said, like, I've said something along the lines of, if you own a brewery and you don't make your favorite beer, then you're messing up. Like you're doing it wrong. And I think he's making me do it wrong, because like I like that beer more than beers I'm making. I drink it more just because I can get it more regularly. But I also still love all of my beers, obviously. But
You don't have to love
like
all
my
of your beers.
children. If you don't love them, you shouldn't release them.
I don't know about that.
What do you mean?
Well, like, what if there's a line out the door to get it?
You can love something about that beer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then there you go.
Yeah. But yeah, the OG is killer. He sent me his other stuff too. They're all great, but that beer is just an ideal beer for me. And we're drinking the Bohemian Pills right now, and it also is drinking really well.
Yeah, it's very good. Very, very good. Yeah, we've got some really good lagers on right now. And listen to this lineup of lagers. You've got Dovetail Bohemian Pills. We've got Lupolo Lager from Oxbow.
Did you say Dovetail Bohemian Pills?
Sorry. Goldfinger Bohemian Pills. Sorry.
It's all good.
All the same.
Yeah.
Same thing.
All these lagers taste the same.
And Schlenkerla Helles.
Yep.
It's another pretty good light lager. We also got an art history English summer ale on cask. So
yeah,
worth a shot. Anyway.
If only it was hot out in Chicago right now.
Right. I know.
To drink all these light lagers.
I know. I was talking with another friend of the show, John Rubio of the Beerists, and I was talking to him and asked him what the weather was like there. And part of me was assuming I would finally be able to be like, oh, it's hotter and more humid.
It's a bazillion degrees.
But it's 95 and like way humid there, which is disgusting.
So we're tied.
It wasn't that hot today.
All right, it was
like a couple days
today.
ago, yeah. And I was like, oh, so when it's getting hot. And he was like, oh, that's not until like August, September. I was like, no, I was kidding. He's like, I'm not. It gets up to 112. I was like, what?
That's not even that close to the equator either, right? Like it gets so much hotter.
I mean, it can't. I'm not sure it can. That's not right.
It definitely does, though.
That's messed up.
Right?
That's
it
messed
has
up.
to.
I don't know. That I don't know. I don't know.
No,
we don't need
whatever.
to
I'm not a meteorologist.
Right. So, okay. Let's
get right into it.
Let's get right into it. 27 minutes in.
That's pretty good for us.
Because I've got another sidetrack for you.
Let's go.
I
Chicken feet. Don't love them either.
So you passed your city inspections, right?
Uh-huh.
Big deal for your first tap room. Was tap room.
Yep.
I'm sure people who are listening want to know.
Put the dots together,
about that. So I have some questions. What are you most excited about? And what is something you're nervous about? Doesn't need to be most nervous about, but just nervous about.
Which one should I do first?
It's up to you.
Okay. I'm excited to have people come into a space that we've actually kind of curated and thought about and cared about and put together a draft list that is going to be dominated, if not by Cezanne.
Dominating I thought you were going to say it was going to dominate Untapped.
No.
I'm looking forward to the most of dominating Untapped.
We're not Hot Butcher or Phase 3 or anything. We don't dominate
mean
Untapped.
no, you have to be Treehouse.
Right.
Treehouse or side project.
Right.
You're taking them down.
Go through the bottle shop.
Yeah.
Go through the bottle shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, nothing just happened.
Okay.
The thing I'm most excited for is to bring people in, let people come in, and honestly, a lot of it being neighbors, like people that space has been a brewery for a very long time. It was a tap room for a few years, and as I've been working on building it out and moving stuff around and cleaning things, I've tried to keep the doors open as much as possible for people to pop in and just kind of see progress. And so many people have been so supportive, and none of the neighbors know about our brewery. We do like a very specific niche thing, but they're just excited to have a brewery to go to and visit again and come in and have some beer. So I'm excited to show those people what we've been doing, and then also see if they like Saison and see if they like our beers, and hopefully kind of introduce them to something that they might not have gotten into if it wasn't in their neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, mostly it's been really fun building the space out, finding weird little things to put in.
That is fun.
I bought a Malm fireplace or a Malm
I saw
fireplace.
It's really coung.
Yeah, and then solving a lot of problems that I don't normally have to solve. I hung a bunch of speakers today, and there was some existing audio equipment, but it's not the right amperage for what we have, so I have to find a new amp. Running into those problems and solving them has actually been really it gets me going. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's nice when problems can be solved in a short. There's a couple steps to solving it. It's not like 40 chess or whatever. Where you're just like, oh my god, this is the worst. Okay, so are you planning on brewing some not typical to style for Is Was, and are you excited about that or not excited?
Yes, the whole time I never intended to be a Saison only brewery, even from the very jump and the conception.
But you decided you know what, this style's so hot, I'm going to stick with it.
I don't know. There was so much more to do in that space, and when we were kind of confined to making a small amount of beer, maybe other people think differently about it, but it didn't make sense to me to do a bunch of other things. We also didn't have a lot of equipment. We only had the certain bottle fillers, and we don't have a carb stone even still, so everything is bottle conditioned. And I really wanted to focus on something and get really, really good at it. Something that I loved and get really, really good at it. And I think we're really good at it now. And we'll get better at it. But I am very excited to make other styles. They won't leave the tap room very much. Maybe we'll sneak a couple kegs out every once in a while. They'll be for the first year or so, they'll be entirely draft things, but we'll make pale ales. We'll make things that I like to drink, things that I've talked about on this show that aren't Saison.
Collabo XPAs with the Beer Temple?
100% collabo. Yeah, if you want, sure. All collabos all the time. We'll also make a bunch of non-alcoholic stuff. We've been making vinegar as a side project for a while, so we'll make some shrub sodas. We're just gonna be making some sparkling waters. That we inherited a 20 tap draft system from the space we're moving into, and that's just too many beers for a tap room to have on. I think it's too many beers for us to produce on our own that will actually be of good quality. And part of my belief about what we should do as a tap room is if we can't make it better than another local brewery, then we'd rather just either collaborate with them or have a beer from them. We'll do our own versions of them, but I want the customer experience to be great no matter what you choose, and not just be here's our version of this thing. We tried our best and it wasn't very good.
Right.
So yeah, but the question was, am I excited to make other styles? And I am very excited to get back into that. When I was at Pipeworks, that's all we did was make a bazillion different styles and other things. And it definitely wasn't a conscious decision to do the exact opposite for 5 years, but it was certainly something that clearly I needed to get out of this, get out of the system, I guess is what I was going to say, but that's not right either. But
all right.
I needed to focus on something specific rather than a more broad approach.
Right. And now you're ready to
to go back
Yeah.
to making
Stretch
16
your-
different
yeah.
styles every week.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having some some half barrel style beers.
Yeah,
from
yeah,
you.
yeah.
That'll be cool.
I'm excited to be able to put things in half barrels too.
Right. Be
Be-
able to afford to do it.
Between
in a way.
affording and being a 5'6" and weighing 150 pounds and doing all my own deliveries out of a Volkswagen.
It's all in the technique.
Yeah, I don't know if I can really move those around. Or I didn't want to, and we didn't have the volume to really do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, making stuff that's a little bit less time intensive too, but can be different colors on the palette, different things to come in and give people different experiences than just mixed culture or saison or Brettanomyces, which will be the predominant thing we still do, but
Yeah.
to do something a little bit different will be nice.
And
Because I still love those things. I love drinking them. I loved making a lot of the stuff we made at Pipeworks, but I'm just ready to make them again.
yeah, and that's cool because I think when you started you were ready to not make them. So it's cool
Yeah,
that you're ready or you're ready to hyper focus.
Yeah, I mean, well, the intention was never to only be a saison brewery forever, but the way we were operating and the circumstances of the time, and it made sense to stay doing that, and really, really get good at it. But now I'm ready to be bad at stuff again, I guess, is what would be the thing. Ready to use some other tools, some other colors, some other yeasts.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm excited also to then mess those styles up with Brettanomyces, like not like that they would be infected, but pull them into tanks that we use for mixed culture stuff and pitch Brettanomyces in like a Midwestern pale ale or something, and let's see what happens over the next like month while we keep it like at a relatively normal temperature, and or take a lager and put Brettanomyces in it. Do things that are a hybrid of more American traditional brewing and what we do.
I'm very excited for that. Obviously, no date yet, right?
No date.
Okay. So what about the other half of the question then? Or the other question?
What am I most worried about?
I didn't want to say most worried about. That's
sure. What am I worried about?
What's something that you're worried about?
Well, I mean, I think anyone who opens something like this has the fear and worry, rational or irrational, that no one's going to show up. That at some point people just stop showing up.
I think that's rational.
Yeah,
that's a rational.
It's rational
fear.
to fear it. It's not a rational thing to think might happen. But
really,
I don't
then maybe
think
I'm
so.
not rational because I think it's gonna.
I think everyone has it though, but it's all you. I think everyone who owns a business which hinges on people coming to it, especially given what happened 4 or 5 years ago, 4 years ago, people not showing up. And I was talking with my dad about this. It's a black box too, right? You're not sure why they're not coming, and you can't ask people why aren't you here. So the fear is people don't come or people stop coming, and you have no idea what to do. So that's my biggest fear, is that people either don't show up at all or come for a while and then just all of a sudden quit and don't care. Which is inevitable, right? Certainly you'll ebb and flow through how many people are coming to your place. I just fear not having any concept of what we did or what we did to make them not come back, or what we can do to get them to come back. So now it's like what it ends up being is, thinking about all these small details or all these things that you think are, silly or might not be perceived, but maybe they are. Maybe that's why people come. Like we spent a bunch of money on soundproofing panels recently, or sound dampening panels, because it's pretty echoey currently. It's an industrial space. It was the original Koval distillery is what our tap room is in, and it's all brick and cement, and all the tables are wood. We have
hard concrete floors,
and so if it just sounds echoey and boomy, then like it won't be an enjoyable place to be in. And that's like the most important thing, is to make it welcoming and an enjoyable place to be in and stay for a while. And so, it's a thing like that is not visible. It doesn't seem like something that would be important or expensive, but it can be both.
Sure.
And it's also a thing that, when you start a career in making beer, you never really think about like, in 12, 15 years, I'm going to be 16 tabs deep in a Google Chrome browser comparing the density of different sound, dampening panels. But that stuff matters. And if you're doing it the way that I'm doing it, that's what you do. If you have the amount of money that I have to do it, that's what you end up doing.
Right. No, I think that's an important thing to do.
And you were super helpful in that. We ended up going with the guy that you suggested, the people you suggested to.
I mean,
so thank you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a point at which you're talking to people and you're like, okay, this guy knows a lot. They're not jerking me around. I can probably spend more time, but why?
Right.
These people are experts.
Right.
And they have already answered all my questions and given me more information than I knew. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and
they've earned my trust in this short amount of time. And then you just have to go with those people.
And there's certain things that are like consumer level, right? Where there's heavy competition for a lot of different people buying this thing. And that you just go on Amazon, you find the cheapest one, you like kind of look at it. And there's stuff that's like a couple levels up from that. And like sound dampening panels or that type of thing. And like draft equipment is that type of thing where like you end up probably paying more than you need to for the bare minimum.
Yeah.
But because there isn't this plethora of information shared online about like rating how good this thing is. You're like, well, this one is a good one and I don't want it to break.
Yeah.
And these people are straight. That honestly, that one becomes more and more important. These people seem to be straight shooters and are, know how to talk to people. Between the stuff I'm buying for the tap room and equipment I'm buying for the production portion of it, the amount I have to like almost fight myself.
The podcast there, it'll be so sound dampened. It'll be amazing.
We won't even be able to hear us.
It's true.
It'll be 2.5 hours of silence.
Great.
But there's so many times where I'm like, this guy has the best price. He has access to a lot of stuff. But the way he interacts with me is he's a dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't want to give him my money.
Oh,
so
right.
you go out of your way to be like, I'll ask anyone else I know. Can I find this through any other channel?
Right.
And if you can, then you end up giving a dickhead your money. But
yeah, maybe he's a dickhead because he can afford to be. You never know. Yeah,
I mean, maybe
because he's just so much better. Who knows?
You don't have to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, most people aren't like that though.
So you're worried about just nobody?
Yeah, people never coming.
Nobody coming.
Yeah.
I wish I could say
it never stops.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Because it won't happen, but worry about it because it could happen.
Right. And that's one of those things where you have to like take it as like a healthy thing of like, if you stop worrying about it, like you better have people.
And if you were a super cool restaurant group, like whoever owns like, some of the coolest spots here in Chicago.
Yeah, one-off hospitality.
Yeah, one-off hospitality.
They have problems like that too.
Hog
Salt, Land and Sea.
Yeah, Land and Sea.
They have places that happen like that too. You just don't really remember.
Right, because they come and go. They know how to fail fast.
But I only got one of these. Right. Like I can't be like, oh, I guess that deli concept.
You don't have a team of people who go around the country probably looking at cool places.
No.
And then redoing them.
No, it's me, and then it's like Joe who does our art. Literally painting squares of color on the wall and being like, well, that green is a little bluer and that blue is a little greener.
Yeah.
So
well, it's exciting and terrifying. So good luck. We'll keep checking in.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to like tell you a date relatively soon. But
yeah. Why don't we? You want to take a break or you just want to plow through to the next one? How you feeling right now?
Let's plow through to one and then take a break.
Okay. Well, let's do comings and goings. So
everyone's favorite segment.
There's a few things going on. Few comings this time.
Was taproom.
Yes.
At some point.
But also we've got. So the three I've got are coming is Hulk Hogan is launching Real American beer, and the Kelce Brothers just bought a stake in Garage Beer, and then going is Cascade out in Portland. So where would you like to start with that, Mr. Shalal?
I mean, out of respect, probably Cascade.
Okay. So, you want the good news or the bad news? Definitely start me with
Start
the
with
bad news.
I'm a bad news first kind of guy.
You're a bad news first kind of guy. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, Cascade. I think they call it the House of Sour, right? In Portland, Oregon. One of the original American sour beers and sour breweries.
And probably like the first one to really be like, we are a sour brewery. I don't know if they
25 years old.
I don't know if they ever like self moniker that, but they certainly like Jolly Pumpkin was like this whimsical thing, and people called them sour beer. But I don't know if they were ever like, we make sour beer. This Cascade was one of the first breweries where I was like, these are sour beers.
Right. Yeah. Said he created what they call the Northwest Sour 1998. So never stop being terrified. How about that? How does that make you feel, Mike?
I mean, there's probably periods in there where they weren't terrified, right? Just say yes.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Boy, I mean, man. I'm just looking at some of this. I mean, they won World Beer Cups as recently as this year.
Yeah.
New York Times named their crate
sales
the best sour beer in America in 2016. But as we all know, American sour fruited beers have gone through a hard time. We had the whole show on it. You know, we had some West Coast folks on that podcast.
I mean, it's one of those things. Expansion that is so different and so hard compared to the way that breweries making more traditional styles of beer can expand, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with Tom when we were doing a collaboration about the winification of those styles of beer, and just it hasn't, and I just don't foresee how it could ever work. The economics just aren't there, and you don't have the infrastructure of tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of restaurants across the country are willing to put together massive wine lists and hold a lot of inventory for expensive wines, and that just doesn't exist for beer.
Yeah,
and so it certainly could be as valuable or as good as whatever wine you want to say. Not any wine, I guess, but it will never be able to reach any sort of distribution scale in the same way that wine does, you know? And that's what these need to be, right? These were pretty expensive bottles of beer. They're, single serve, large format beers. And there might have been a time where it was conceivable to think that could expand and grow for a long time, and people would be willing to pay the prices because craft beer was so hot and so seemed to be so much becoming part of the zeitgeist. But this was the first thing that people didn't want to spend money on in craft beer.
Yeah.
Just sad. Like,
yeah,
these are important beers, but
yeah,
they're also like, I run a brewery that makes some styles similar to this, but I was never someone who was in love with Cascade.
Mm-hmm.
It's always too aggressively sour. And it's as if it was like the hop IBU race, but for acidity. And I'm certainly sad that they're gone. But
they're winning World Beer Cup, so I mean, who knows what they're making now?
Sure.
And there was an ownership buyout about 4 or 5 years ago, but I think it was an ongoing thing where he was selling it off to people, and then the owner or the founder died suddenly this year or just recently or something like that.
That's tough to get through.
And
right?
and I think like even though he had sold it or was in the process of selling it, it looked like all these things put together, and it just becomes too much to bear, I think. And and then there she goes. I think we're going to start seeing more of these. We are seeing more of them. I mean, there was
For
some
sure.
news in Brewbound, and I don't want to like air necessarily dirty laundry, but there's some lawsuits going on with uh, down in St. Louis, Urban Chestnut, the lager brewery. I was just reading through it, considering like putting it on the show, and I was like, you know what, I don't need to air dirty laundry. But then I was looking at like what's going on with their production. Their production was down like 19% year over year, and they're down from like 22,000 at their peak to 14,000, and I'm like, oh boy, like
It's tough.
that is tough.
The economics don't necessarily work if you built a brewery to do 22,000 at 14,000.
Or if you build to do 50.
Right.
And
It
now-
definitely doesn't work at 14 if you built to do 50.
Right. I mean, who knows what they built it for, you
Right.
know? It's a big facility. It's a big facility when you go there down to St. Louis. And yeah, it's tough. It's sad. It's sad. And that's what I was thinking about when I was reading it. And then I hadn't even heard about the Cascade news yet. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of breweries that we like that are going to go out of business. A lot of places, a lot of breweries that we like that are going to go out of business. And I think it's not just going to be in the beer world. It looks like there's places that are, going out of business. Kuma's here in Chicago filed for bankruptcy or something the last week or something like that.
So the Kuma's by you is a totally different business entity.
I assumed, I didn't hear that, but I was saying to the person who told me more out of willing it to be true, but also I was like, there's no way that one's going to close. It's like it has to be its own thing, the original Kuma's or something like that.
I think it's set up as they were licensing deals and they all operate independently of each other, and the company that was licensing the brand of Kuma's to the independently operating stores when is filing for bankruptcy.
Got it. Smart way to set it up. That's why you set it up that way, baby.
That way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but my point being, I mean, there's just going to be like great places that you're just going to see that this stuff happening to.
Metro
kind of scary,
right? Like,
right.
There's a brewery that we like, people liked the beer from and was a part of the fabric of the Chicago craft beer community, and it's gone.
Yeah.
Cascade is this, a nationally recognized version of that, but
yeah,
it's gone. We
have it on our shelves right now.
Yeah.
So
rare.
Yeah,
they're whales now.
They're whales, buddy. Price to move. Come on now.
Beers that take a while to make too. They probably have a lot of stock of stuff. I wonder if they so they're just done. They're closed. They're not going to be like packaging any of that.
Looks like they're ceasing all operations, is what they said. So I guess they'll just dump it. I guess. Yeah.
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 It's cheaper than paying someone to mix it, blend it, and bottle it.
Yeah, probably. But who knows? If that does change, we'll mention it.
Mm-hmm.
But now on to the good news.
Oh, okay.
And that is Hulk Hogan's Real American beer. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
So, I am a real American.
Are you?
I fight for the right of every man.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Are you not?
It's no. I mean, I totally am. I'm just looking this beer up right now. Real American beer. It has
15 states.
It has Hogan right on it.
Is he playing the guitar on there? What's that?
No, he's holding an American flag.
All right, sure, whatever.
That's part of his.
One of my most used gifts is him playing an American flag guitar.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Playing
not
I Am
plugged
a Real
in,
American.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to disparage the man, but I don't think he's fretting the chords correctly on the music.
Right.
Major.
Yeah, so it's going to be an American style light lager.
It's out. It's in Florida.
I love that it's brewed with 100% North American ingredients, so not American. That means they must get some.
I read that same article, but I didn't catch that part.
Yeah, North American ingredients.
It's probably Canada grows a lot of grain.
I am a real
North
he means
American.
continental.
Yeah,
continental.
I am a real North American.
Yes,
fight for the right of every North
so
American.
It's already available in Florida and Minnesota, and it's coming to Colorado.
Of course, the two states you think of the most.
Yes.
Florida and Minnesota.
Yeah, and then
this is hilarious.
It's going to be 13 or 14.
From the Coloradan about how this beer is coming to Colorado soon.
Yeah.
It's like, what is
Yeah.
Colorado needs more beer, especially one made by Hulk Hogan.
Real American beer.
I hope he crushed all the grains himself in his own hands.
No, with the 24-inch pythons, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So he's going to crush it with 24-inch pythons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Real American light lager. I'll go to Brewbound. They'll probably have a little bit more.
Probably the same press release everywhere, bud.
Yeah, probably.
15 plus states. If you see it, let us know what you think about it.
Oh, ZX Ventures. There you go.
Get out.
Oh
of
no,
here.
never mind.
They don't exist anymore.
Hogan is partnering with Terry Francis, who previously worked at Anheuser-Busch's innovation arm, ZX Ventures.
Just a couple Terrys making it happen.
So now, so the guy at ZX is teaming up with, exactly, a couple Terrys. And the thing, you know what, I pulled in Terry Francis to this. He's just so deeply passionate about it.
Who said that about who?
Francis said it about
Oella.
About Hogan. He shows up at the wholesaler meetings, retailers meetings. Nothing is too much. There's no restriction on his time. Wow.
That only shows up in an article like this when it's not true.
So they're going to do 12 ounce in 6, 12, 24 packs, and then they want to add 24 ounces when they roll out in Texas, and then draft and all that sort of stuff. It's an everyman beer from an everyman hero.
They're innovating so hard with their North American ingredients and different packaging formats.
Yep, 17 states.
These are the things we love, Chris.
Yeah. And it's going to be in Walmart, Hard Rock hotels and casinos, and select Hooters locations.
There we go, baby.
Yeah.
Also, specifically, one of the articles I read mentioned military bases. They're targeting military bases for their distribution points.
Hey, if they've got this guy Francis involved,
he's so passionate. There's no restrictions on time.
Exactly. So they're going to have, they're going to have some pipe fill at the very least.
Some Python pipe fill.
Right. So 24 ounce cans. Maybe that's why they want to do it, because of the 24-inch pythons.
That's definitely why they wanted to do it.
Right.
If they don't call them 24 ounce python cans,
they have to. 24 ounce pythons.
Should we email them right now?
We don't have to, because that's obviously already been thought of.
Right.
And here's the other thing. I might have to get a 24 ounce python. I might have to buy one if I saw it.
I feel like a 24 ounce,
at least once. The 24 ounce python.
The can's not an actual snake.
No.
I think a 24 ounce python's not that big of a snake.
No, but for the cans,
yeah, it's a big can.
Yeah. So I think, So that's the one. And then the other is the Kelce Brothers buy into another light lager, Garage Beer.
Yeah. It's going to be at every Taylor Swift concert. It's going to be on every podcast.
So they are
also
the largest investors and significant investors, partners, owners, and operators in the business.
So they say they're the largest investors. Do they actually control the company, do you think?
I don't know.
You can be a big investor and not actually control the company, right?
Yeah. Some of these quotes are people, Jason Kelce, and I will stop reading it if it's going to disparage him too much, because I can't disparage
you can't.
My favorite Eagle.
I gotta like it. I like him too.
Yeah.
So.
People crave quality and simplicity. True. And Garage Beer nails both for me. We're light beer drinkers, and Garage Beer is the best light beer. For me, the brand fits my lifestyle. Having a few beers is a great excuse to get the neighbors together. It's better than Terry Francis's quote.
He actually hasn't restricted his time with us at all. Why would you think that?
Exactly. So it's been all over the place. Bleacher Report, although they call it here at Brewbound, I think they misnamed it because they call it Bleach Report. Sports Illustrated, ESPN, and Bleach Report.
Hell yeah. That's a laundry magazine.
Yeah, we'll see. Come on, Justin. I love you. And also, hey, I always like to say this. Thank you to Justin in particular and Brewbound in general for giving us access to their reporting.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's awesome for us.
It's almost always spell checked correctly.
Yes. So I mean, it's among, I guess, the top craft light lager brands, and it's, I guess, like a mini. What were you calling it? Like a mini Montucky?
Montucky, Rust Belt Montucky.
Yeah. And it was part of Braxton Brewing, but it was separated and acquired just last year by who? Let's see. By somebody. Yeah. So somebody took that brand, and I don't know. I know I've said it. If somebody
Absolutely.
can remember,
I
said that there's going to be craft brands are going to start to get traded like individually.
Yeah,
like this.
yeah, I remember that.
And
I don't know if it was on a prediction show, but you've definitely said it at multiple times.
Yes,
either on the show or to me.
Yeah, because I think that's the next thing is these brands are going to start getting horse traded, and so it was acquired. So they spun it off, and now they bought it.
Wait, so these guys do a podcast, right? Is this podcast money getting them this beer brand? Because Chris, we are effing up.
See, that's the thing. They have they had at least some point. Theirs was the #1 most popular podcast.
Ours was one of the top.
Ours is at least #2 or lower.
Yeah,
is what that means.
At least, yeah.
So I think you got to be #1 at least for a little bit
to get
that kind of money.
That
and I don't know where we are, but we're at least 2
or lower. We're not even on Rogan guest money.
No.
Yeah.
No, we're not on Rogan.
We're not even on
money.
Kelce podcast guest money.
No, we're not. Yeah, we're not on money. So
no, we are.
So. Hey, we can change. You guys just want to start sending us with your handwritten letters. You can just start sending us cash.
Please,
send cash, pennies, anything.
Little UNICEF boxes we'll walk around
with.
Sweet
back pennies. Those things are cool.
Those things are cool.
Yeah, I love getting those.
Yeah.
So,
do pennies still? What's the last time you saw a penny in person?
Oh, all the time.
Really?
Yeah, my son likes looking at coins, wheat back pennies, and stuff like that. So
you share a love of wheat pack pennies with your son.
I don't know if I would share it, but they are cool when you come across one. They're like, oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend it. I'm going to put it in my pocket and lose it.
Yeah.
That's usually what I do.
You know how many of those you need to spend now? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Candy used to be
so yeah, I mean, so I'm just looking at how much they actually make. It'd be nice now to have somebody like Don Bixel. But
can you call him?
2021, I was talking to him today. He was at Allagash Brewing.
Get out of
here. I swear.
Is he like trying to open them as an account?
He was just stalking Rob Todd, I think. He was like peeking through the blinds, trying to find Rob Todd.
It's the slickest name in the game.
So, yeah, in 2021, Braxton's production was 20,000 barrels. So, let's say most of that, whatever, was garage. So that's sizable.
What year was that again? Say it again.
2021.
That's millennia ago.
Yeah, but in 2023, garage beers portfolio increased dollar sales at 36% and volume 84%, and NIQ tracked off-premise channels. Year to date,
those aren't great numbers.
Year to date, 36% up and 84% up.
Well, those are good numbers to be up by.
Yeah,
but the one is far outstripping the other.
Yeah, increased dollar sales and yeah. So they're going,
making much more beer and making much less money on the more beer they make.
Right, but year to date through May, garage beer's dollar sales was up 196%. That's good.
That is very good. That's very good. I take it back. I'm sorry, Travi and Taylor. Don't come at me.
So let's talk about and look, they're selling 15 packs for $16.
That's cheap.
Oh wait, that was in 2018. Never mind. All right, I should probably have read all this beforehand. Okay, so don't listen to any of that. So let's talk about more than the dollars and stuff like that about these two, because I think these two are examples of what might seem to be the same thing, but to me are kind of different things. So it's celebrities attaching themselves to a light lager. But that's the similarity, and using their brand to sell it somewhat.
Yeah,
but from there, I think it diverges a ton. And I think, I don't know if you agree, that the garage one is set up much better.
So much better.
Than the American Hero one.
So much better. I mean, it very obviously is set up to be like they took an equity stake in a company that they are going to now use their platforms to propel, right? And the other one was like
it sounds like a Donald Trump licensing deal. We'll make it, you license Trump it, stakes. And with your license comes you have a duty to be here for distributor sales,
right.
Like for real. Like it's probably
right.
in his contract.
Right.
He has to be there,
exactly.
And he has to rip his shirt off and just like tear it into shreds, and then
sadly.
pump the pythons. He wouldn't do it sadly. That guy would be so into it.
I mean, yeah, okay.
It would be amazing. I mean, it'd be sad for you to watch it, maybe, but he wouldn't be sad.
Well, how on a scale of like the best thing that's ever happened to you?
It's the best.
Would a sales meeting where Hulk Hogan rips his shirt off and pumps the pythons?
I mean, it'd be
at Beer Temple
among the best things that's ever happened to me.
Would it be? Would you have to buy it, or would you then be like, nah?
I would definitely buy some
for yourself. Would you put it? Would you replace if they asked you for a permanent handle? What would you?
No, I'd ask, when are the 24-ounce pythons coming out?
Is that the first thing you'd ask?
Probably.
First minute, rip the shirt off, show me the pie. All right, now we can sit down and talk business. Thank you for always having your time available.
I mean, imagine
Terry.
if he was going store to store selling this stuff. That'd be amazing. Okay, now, so yeah, that he's obviously with a capable salesman.
Right.
If you were,
branding,
if you were at the VP level of ZX, you know your stuff.
Hopefully.
I would think so. So it's not like just like a fool's kind of errand, just kind of like going and doing that. But I think the Kelce Brothers, also I think Garage Beer is based out of Ohio, which is where they're from.
Yep.
So I'm guessing that's a very strong base for them. It probably rings a little bit more authentic.
Yeah.
To them, and they're like, so Stone Cold Steve Austin has a beer,
makes
right?
Sense.
El Segundo makes sense because he was always drinking beer, and that's still around, that beer.
Yeah,
Jason Kelce, I think more than Travis Kelce, is kind of in that vein where he's known. He likes to be the the vice president of partying down, or the secretary of partying down. I forget what that quote from The Simpsons was.
Yeah, sure.
And whatever that was. School of Hard Knockers, I think, was the movie that Homer was watching.
Of course.
Secretary of partying down. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think there could be some backlash.
I think it's
for
also
both, or not really backlash for the Hogan one, but I think there could be some backlash to the Garage Beer thing. But I don't think it would be people who are already buying it will stop buying it.
No, definitely not.
Yeah,
I think it's also this kind of a difference in generation and how people think about branding themselves now. Whereas Hulk Hogan, he's like, I am the brand. So we'll get a contracted thing where it doesn't even say that there's no brewery on that, right? Like I am the brand. It's Hulk Hogan beer.
It's like Big Hurt Beer, Frank Thomas.
Yeah, exactly. Or just like you said, like Trump things, like Trump steaks, right? Where I am the brand, and we will use it to sell widgets. And the Kelce one seems much more like we have a platform,
a huge platform.
Yeah, and we will use our platform to sell this thing that we actually have equity in as a company, rather than just owning our brand, right?
Right.
And who knows which approach is actually in the long run better. There's much lower risk in doing some sort of like licensed thing, right? You have to put money up front maybe, but like there's no infrastructure that you're investing in. You're not like tying yourself to other people who are invested in the same company. You're just using your own brand to make the thing. But there's also the ceiling is lower, right? So, or potentially could be lower. So, I don't know. Like I would much rather drink a garage beer now than a Hulk Hogan beer.
Now, do you think
I think more people would re-buy garage beers than are going to re-buy the Hulk Hogan beer.
Yeah, totally. Who's like, what's your go-to?
Real Hulk American, Hogan of the Real American
lager.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous.
You don't fight for the right of every man?
I mean, I do.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But you know what? I mean, garage beer even embodies that better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It does. It also, it
seems like a more savvy move. I mean, both could fail equally spectacularly.
Right.
But, yeah.
Hopefully they were able to also arrange something where they didn't have to put the same equity financially in as everyone else. Like, we're going to put this on like the #1 podcast. It's going to be in every Taylor Swift Eras Tour venue.
I mean, they might not be able to do that, but I mean, honestly, all they would
what if they break up because of that?
All they would need to do, honestly, is if there's a photo of Taylor Swift with a can of that in her hand,
1 billion people will see that.
I mean, it will. I mean, the access they have to that stuff.
Imagine if they break up because Travis is more about brewskis and broskies than he is about Taylor.
Right?
How will that be ever? But also, then the Swifties are not going to be drinking Garage Project though. If the headlines in those magazines are he left her for this beer.
Because for drinking beer with his bro.
With his bro.
With his literal
beer
bro.
with his bro, literally.
Beer with his bro.
That'd be the best
Beers
thing.
with his bro.
Yeah, on Saturdays for the boys.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, and both Kelces are going to be in the spotlight way more than Hulk Hogan in the next couple years.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce is still a top tight end in the league.
Yep.
And Jason Kelce will probably get
most famous man in Philadelphia.
Yes. But also, I mean, he'll have a studio job this coming year. I would presume.
Sure. He might not even
to some
need it.
degree. I mean, but he could if he wanted. I mean, he can just be in there.
Yeah.
I think any of those networks, including Bleach Report, would hire him.
Yeah.
Him, and it'll be Bleach Report, be him, Kelce, Mr. Clean would be in there. The Scrubbing Bubbles. They just talk about Bleach.
You could be in there.
I could be there.
Oh, I thought you were doing bald people. He has hair though, doesn't he?
He has a lot of hair. I'm talking about the Bleach Report.
Bleach Report, right?
Yeah.
Fabuloso rep would be in there.
Yeah.
Most pungent.
But thanks for just ripping on my hairline for no reason.
I'm sorry, dude. You caught a stray that I didn't.
I know,
I didn't know
really.
I was shooting. I apologize. We should take a break.
Yeah, we'll take a break. Let's finish talking about this though, because let's just give some. No. Let's give a little bit more of a prediction for it. I predict there could be some beer podcast wars coming up.
Oh, who are we fighting?
Barstool.
Oh,
because Barstool,
we'll lose there
and this is what
than the two of us. I thought we were going to fight
the Kelce Brothers.
We might be able to take Rubio.
Kelce Brothers Garage.
Oh,
and Doug Valicki made a great a great call when Gallo Wine purchased Montucky Garage Beer. I mean, those are head to head. Gallo is the owner of High Noon. High Noon came to prominence through Barstool Sports. I mean, it's like a direct correlation. Yep. And now Barstool could very potentially have access to a beer brand, which I think is they would love to get their hands on a beer brand.
Sure.
So then
they
could have
case races all the time as part of their like programming.
Right.
All the time. I don't know how to watch that.
So now it's Montucky Cold Snacks.
Watch the trivia.
Garage Beer.
Yeah.
So you could have this podcast beer.
Cold Snack is such a good name.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's
the
so
name.
funny.
I don't know if I've ever had a Montucky Cold Snack in my life.
I've had some Cold Snacks. They're fine.
Yeah.
They serve the purpose.
Yeah, Montucky Cold Snack is a great name.
The first time I went to Seattle, they were the dollar beer everywhere.
Got it.
And it crushed. It was,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a dollar beer.
A dollar beer. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Getting old.
Yeah, so that's all I want. What we should revisit that and see where we're at now. Obviously, Gallo has massive ability to distribute, and they also have the Barstool Sports, so they're going to be bigger. But I would love to see how this garage project thing goes, and if it could kind of catch lightning in a bottle or something like that. Both of them could be very interesting. Now, garage project still probably maybe is still craft.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Montucky, if it ever was, if it is now. I mean, it's owned by Gallo. I mean, I don't know. It's not another big brewery.
Not by the BA, maybe.
Yeah, because it's not a brewery that owns it. It's
right.
It's the giantest winery.
Right.
It's the McDonald's of wineries.
Yeah, but Paisley made in the numbers though, so we might allow the wineries.
Exactly. So, but that's going to be interesting to see. How that works out. If anyone has predictions, you can email them to us. Now we will take a break, and we come back. All right, let me ask. Here's the other part. Let's just tack this on, then we'll go.
We can run through the entire episode.
No,
we're at like an hour 15.
Yes, but we can tack. We'll take a break, then we'll finish it off. But
okay.
Here's the other half of this, because I think I could see this also tagging along as well. So Athletic doubles their capacity now because they bought the
Ballast Point,
the big production facility. That was a big spot. I've been to that place. It's big.
Yeah.
It's big. It's like bigger than Rev big.
Yeah.
It's like
definitely.
a lot bigger. Yeah. It's a giant spot.
Yeah.
So Athletic to me looks like they're pulling a Lagunitas. They're Lagunitas of NA. They're just explosive growth, and
they've
then
got the private equity money,
and then it's gonna
Tom Brady
sell.
money. Yeah,
right. I mean, yeah, and what Lance Armstrong is he part of Athletic?
No idea. Probably Sheryl Crow, maybe.
Sure. Yeah, Sheryl Crow's in there. So they're going to get acquired, right? I mean, that is what they are going for.
Yeah,
right,
for sure.
And if they are, they're doing it exactly the same way that Tony McGee did, buying these spots and doing all that stuff.
They built their spot, right?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, hey, but
different times though, the spots didn't exist.
Exactly, different times. So over under, when do they sell? Athletic
this year,
2024.
I'd say this year. The only options now are sell or IPO, right?
Yeah, but we're in the 6th month of the year, so I'll take the over.
Oh, maybe I should say within 12 months from today's date.
Ooh, man! So you're setting the line then. That's the line.
The over under is
12.
12 months, 365 days from June 18th, 2024. Because they're selling in February, right? Because dry January is going to make them look even more impressive than they already are.
but the deal will probably take 3 or 4 months to work through.
Probably already happening. People are kicking the tires.
I take
for
under
sure.
then. I'll take the under.
You think they're and where do you think they go?
So June 18th, 2025.
Because doesn't
under.
I think Dr. Pepper already owns a significant stake of them.
Yes.
So it's like it's going to be interesting because it's probably not going to be sold to like Bud or Miller or Coors or something like that. It's going to be sold to a actually bigger beverage.
It's going to be sold to big podcast, probably.
That's right. A year from now, Travis Kelce,
right,
and Taylor Swift.
No, not him. No, they split. And Taylor Swift takes Athletic.
Yeah, she buys Athletic, of course.
Or like Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, she doesn't get a brain injury from all the hacking people.
Yeah, but yeah. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
and also I'm very interested to see how Montucky and Garage do respectively. You know,
totally. Because there hasn't really been anything that entered that space, right? It was Bud and Miller, and they were just beating each other up, and Coors kicking the out of each other. And now there's like new entrants that are, Gallo is a massive corporation, right? So they're backed by enough money, and there's more interest in.
And a huge media company in Barstool. Yeah. And, I mean, going back.
Does that actually happen? Are there sponsorships already, or is that just a thing that was projected?
This is something that Galicki was saying would make total sense. And as soon as he said it, I was like, oh, yes. Yeah. Yes, that makes sense.
They might already have a beer sponsor, though. They've had beer sponsors in the past.
Well, I'm guessing Gallo could make that go away.
Sure.
And... yeah, so if that were to happen, it would be interesting to see. Like, these are the days of the old, the early days of TV where they would have the soap ads in the middle of them, of the variety show and stuff
during
like
the
that.
Operas.
Like, right. So like it's is this what is this going to be the new way that like some of these small brands get sold, and if you can like attach yourself to like a rising influencer,
a rising beer podcast, maybe, if you want to sling some money to one of the best beer podcasts in our opinion.
Exactly. Hey, and the North American Guild of Beer Writers,
write us an electronic letter.
Yep.
At Insiders.
About to be 2-time winners.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm cockiness.
First, I have to submit.
Yeah, I have to remember to submit.
I've forgotten every year. Hey, we're 1 for 1.
We'll go out on top.
Yeah, we could just go out on top. But I submitted once and we won.
We should go to the ceremony, but
and the time I did submit. I've never said this on the air. It was because somebody. I don't think I'll be getting anybody in trouble. Reached out and says, "I want you to submit." I don't think they were voting on it, but I want you to submit because there's another podcast out there, and I don't want them to win, and I think you'll beat them. And we did.
I think I know who that was.
Yeah.
Not who said that, but what podcast we were trying to beat.
So I was like, okay, what do I do? Where do I go? And then I've forgotten every year since.
We got to put a calendar reminder.
Yes. So we'll see. And then if we go 2 for 2, then we're the GOAT, and then we end the podcast immediately.
We got to go 3-peat.
Then we have to 3-peat.
Yeah, then we end the podcast.
Fine.
Then we come back from retirement.
Yeah,
and we 3-peat again.
But we change our number for the first
45.
season.
Yeah.
And then we go back.
All
right. Now we are definitely time for a break. We'll be back shortly with more of the Beer Temple podcast.
And we're back. Welcome back to the Beer Temple podcast. I'm your co-host, Mike Shalal from Is Was Brewing, and I'm here with your other co-host, Chris Quinn of the Beer Temple.
What up?
Not much. Just doing a podcast.
I think it's time that we hear from the listeners.
From the people.
Yeah.
The
people who make us at least the number 2.
We haven't checked the numbers.
Number 2 or lower.
But we can't rule out.
We're number 2 or lower.
Yeah. That's a factual statement.
Podcast in America. So
lower than 2 is 1.
True. So maybe we're higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. So
We could be the number 0 podcast, I guess.
I guess we could be the number 0 podcast. It's more likely that we're definitely closer to 0 than we are the number 1. It's true.
I'm not sure how to interpret
don't think
that.
about it.
Yeah.
It's,
Okay.
it's just true.
All right.
So
broke my brain.
we have letters. We haven't gotten a handwritten letter in a while. It's been a while.
It's okay. It's been a busy summer for people.
It's been a busy summer. I know. But if you're traveling and you send us a postcard,
yeah,
it's a great time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
The postage isn't as much either.
That's true.
So saving.
Yeah, you're
Can't
saving-
afford
you're saving
not
money.
to do it. If you do, we have the address in the show notes, but it's 3173 North Elston Avenue in Chicago, 60618. That's the Beer Temple. Send it to anyone's attention. Surge's, Mike's, Edmar's, Nostra Douglas.
Mm-hmm. Send it to Jamie. He will not give it to us, though.
No, don't send it to Jamie Trecker because we won't get. No, don't send it to. If it's to Ed, somehow it will find a way.
You know,
but
I think if you go through the Chicago post office and you put Edmar on the label on the letter, it doesn't matter what address you put below it.
Yeah.
It ends up at Co-Prosperity Sphere.
and then it's
They
thrown
know.
away.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah. Or it's probably not thrown away.
There's
all
a
those,
pile there.
Those old letters are probably still there
They're
somewhere.
all there. Yeah, they're in a shoebox somewhere marked important stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give to Ed.
Yeah. That's every shoebox at every one of those establishments.
You could also send an electronic version of a letter, and that would go to insiders.
Edmar at Mars Brewing. No, sorry.
Yes, no. Insiders at craftbeertemple.com. If you want us to get it, if you want Edmar to get it, then send it to Edmar at marsbrewing.com.
Yeah, just put Edmar in the subject line. It'll get to him.
It'll get to him.
Yeah.
So here's the letter we have referencing an older episode we did about Untapped. One of our most listened to episodes was that Untapped
Really?
episode. Yes.
All right.
So, see, sometimes like it when we hate on stuff.
Yeah.
So it starts out hey again because there's a first letter that he sent like I think an hour earlier, and we'll get to that as well.
Okay. I didn't read that one.
But this is from Steve, and he says, hey again. There was one thing I wanted to mention that I forgot. He did all his introductions in the first one.
Got it.
He's coming to Chicago, and he wanted some
nice.
recommendations and been listening for a long time and stuff like that. You guys had an episode in late February, early March of 2023 when you talked about Untapped ratings and how it affected brewers negatively. The argument from Strong Mike, Chris, and others on the episode made me change the way I interact with Untapped. Since that episode, I tried to find which one, but I couldn't pin it down. I have not left a rating on an Untapped check-in. I just jot down some tasting notes and whether I liked the beer or not. I know you guys loathe Untapped, but I use it for a beer journal / encyclopedia of sorts. I will say I don't loathe Untapped, but I understand why you would think that's a fair assessment.
I think the longer we talk about it, the less we like it.
I have been on the app since 2011 and have over 5,000 check-ins, so it's good to look back and have it for a reference. Hey, I joined Beer Advocate in 2010 and did reviews on there before I was on Untapped. I wish that would have lasted, but the brothers just couldn't seem to keep the site where it needed to be. Very true. So he says, love the show, and it's made me feel like I know Chicago, even though I haven't been there yet. Soon I will get to experience it. Sincerely, Steve Papalardo. So thank you, Steve. And after we talk about this a little bit, we'll get to some recommendations. He wanted to hit up some places in Chicago. So I will say that's exactly how I used to use Untapped, as just like a little beer journal and encyclopedia and a reminder of whether I liked it or not. Like, because I didn't like just checking it in, I guess, it's fast, but it just didn't get me what I needed.
Not fast enough. You live a fast life, Chris.
Right. So the question that I want to present to you, Mike, is in June of 2024, does Untapped still matter?
Not to me. I've stopped looking at it entirely. When we first opened, it was
like an obsession, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, that's not necessarily an obsession, but I was like, I don't even add our beers to it anymore. I like.
Oh, that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
because I know a lot of bars use it as a lookup. Like, what style is it? What ABV is it? And it's very easy to just reference it.
Most people know what style of beer we've given them. But maybe I'll start doing it again.
But it's like, finer points of good behavior,
bad behavior,
volume
16.
16. Which one is that?
Cucumbers and Brettanomyces. So those are all like 6%, 6.1% alcohol.
Yeah, well, I don't know that. Anyway, go on.
Maybe I should add those to them. I just don't care anymore. Like I don't know what our rating is. I cared a lot about it. It's probably because we're not.
Let's look it up. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I mean, I have an assumption of where it probably is, but those things normalize, and they kind of once you have enough ratings, you kind of stick around the same thing, unless you make very different styles than you were making, or you make way worse beer than you were making before, which can happen in both. It's hard to change your Untapped rating after a certain point, though.
Yeah.
Overall, at least, and I found that I love the beers we're making. They are selling at a rate that I'm happy with, and the feedback we're getting is positive. I'm the toughest critic, so I just don't like when other people agree with me. when I notice the flaws in our beer, not necessarily flaws, but things that I don't love about all of them, then I don't need someone else to tell me.
Well, right, but
we don't make like if there were stylistic flaws.
So
to them,
it's funny you look
thing,
at Untapped very selfishly in a way.
What do you mean?
Well, like it's about what you want to see or not see written about your beers or something like that.
I don't look at it at all anymore, and there's not. I found it to be very few critiques that were actually better, like helpful to how we make beer.
That's what I mean. You're looking at it selfishly, like
yeah, we're trying
how
to
it can help you.
Totally, yeah,
right. Not like
that's how everyone uses that app, except for Steve.
Well, how can it help? Right, but I guess
some people use apps.
Right. Okay. How can it help me? So that's a very broad statement. But I guess it could help you in a roundabout way by people being able to find out information or see somebody else drinking it.
Yeah, sure.
Now we're talking about Untapped. This was not the idea, but that's okay.
Yeah. I think there was, I sound like an old person, but when Beer Advocate or Rate Beer were things where like the reviewing of the thing was the important part of it, not the number ratings. You could glean information about either the context or the desires of the person drinking it that's harder to glean in Untapped. And you could actually find out about like your beer more. You could find out, was it, could it possibly been mishandled? Was it, do we have too much oxidation in the packaging line? Whereas when it's simply boiled down.
Like, which one do the people love? Which ones do people not love?
You can get that on Untapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's I guess important too. But that doesn't.
But I think you got that information.
Yeah,
you've gotten that information.
The real information of that is sales, right? Like, just if people are rating it highly, but it's not selling, then do people really love it? The true barometer of people loving a beer and in a professional brewing sense is how well does it sell? Because as we've pointed out on this show, Allagash White, not a great Untapped beer, but one of the best-selling craft beers in the country. Terrace Bulba, beloved, sells very well when it's here. Not a great Untapped beer. So Untapped ratings aren't necessarily do people love it, and that ties into that like old joke of like when breweries killed beers. Like when I asked Matt Brindleson about Pale 41, the old joke was if it really was your favorite beer, if it was so everyone's favorite beer, why didn't it sell well? So you don't need Untapped to know which beers people love from you.
Sure.
Maybe if it's like a taproom thing, it's a small batch thing, and it's really outpacing your average thing. But I don't have that experience with it yet. Maybe it would become more useful to me.
Do you think someone like Steve not using Untapped, if that became a trend, would that be good or bad or neither for breweries?
He's still using Untapped,
but
not rating
yes.
beers on Untapped?
Yes.
It depends on how Steve rated beers, how harsh he was. I mean, it's great inflation on that app for a lot of breweries. I don't know. I don't think it. I'm interested. Do you see people pulling out their phones and looking at Untapped to decide on what beers they're going to buy in your store? So remember that was a pet peeve of yours at the original store, that people be looking at Beer Advocate or Rate Beer. And do you see people? You're probably not. Maybe you're not in the store.
In the shop as much. I should ask Max, and we'll ask J-Max afterwards. I don't think it happens nearly as much. I mean, I'm from the day where I used to watch them like log on to the website version of Beer Advocate and look up ratings.
Right.
I've been going to.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite story about that, and I'm sure I've told it on this show, but then again, it could have been 9 years ago that I told the story was, I mean, I literally was talking to somebody about a beer from the brewery. I remember it was White Oak.
Yeah. That was a cool beer.
It was a great beer. And it was a decent price point and just interesting.
It actually inspired a beer that I made at Piper's.
Okay. Yeah. Because they had one called White Oak Sap. And that was like the full barrel aged one. And White Oak was like a blend, like a partial barrel aged blend of it. And he's like, oh, that sounds really interesting. And he had it and he was like, looked it up. And then he put it back. He's like, oh, it's ranked, it's rated an 89. If it was a 90, I'd pull the trigger or something like that, or I'd buy it.
So you logged on, you gave it 100, and then that bumped the rating up, and you got the sale.
Right. So
yeah, that I can't imagine that's happening as
I think the bottle cap system, which we all know is superior for rating everything.
All things.
That's probably why he thinks we loathe it, because we joke about the bottle cap rating system.
Yeah. I mean,
we do have to honestly see, it's not as much in the zeitgeist anymore of the beer industry world as it used to be, but we really should get back to only quantifying how we like or dislike something in the form of 1 to 5 bottle caps.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's 2 decimal points at certain points, so it's like 1 to 500 instead of 1 to 10, so or 1 to 100, like the other websites were. So it's really more nuanced.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I mean, I give it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted.
I mean, there's also an angle of if people have a beer and they hate it, it's well within their rights to give it a bad number rating and do nothing else. That's what that app is for. Like, it exists to do that as well. So we complain about it and saying like, oh, you know, it hurts our ratings, it can affect the sales and stuff, but like
maybe,
I mean, that beer probably wasn't for those people, but it all got there. And like in my case, I sold it to them directly. Like I drove it there in my car to where that person bought that thing.
And then didn't like it.
And then so like they didn't. So like I was the person who chose to give it to someone or put it in a place where someone could have it that would be totally unaware of what I thought that beer should be, or give it to someone who would dislike it. So that's partially on us, on me.
Yeah.
Good lacing.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. It's a cask, so it doesn't count.
Gotcha.
But, yeah, solid lacing. So,
what do you think about Untapped as your menu, like a TV with your draft list that calls everything from Untapped? I've been trying to tell my dad it's not a good idea. He doesn't not think Untapped, but we've inherited TVs, and I'm like, no, analog draft board. He loves your draft board,
100%.
But like, there's something about this like Untapped thing, even if you don't have the ratings on.
It's very easy.
It's very easy, but that's part of the point, right? Like, it's the path of least resistance. Like, I mean, you did the thing that was the easiest. Like it signals this thing of like, you are at the same place that you could go to a bunch of other places and it will have the same graphics on the same TV, and you're at the same bar, you're at the same tap room. Like,
I don't like digital menu boards.
Yeah, agreed.
Even if it wasn't untapped, I don't like it. Yeah,
agreed.
So no, I feel that you should not do it that way. But that's just me. There's a million ways to do it, and that's not one of my favorite ways.
Yeah, that's my least favorite, to be honest.
Yeah.
I like a QR code better than I like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places that just don't have a big old board with all the names on it.
Right.
There's a menu.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, that works perfectly well, too.
Yeah. Both work. You can do a hybrid. We're going to end up doing a hybrid where there's a board with the
Untapped
names of
and
them.
QR?
Yeah, and then there's a QR
That's
that
cool.
brings you to Untapped, that brings you to a QR that brings you to the back to the Untapped.
A QR that brings you to a live stream
Yeah.
of your board.
Do you guys still have that?
We do, but it's not set up. So I guess no. The camera's
no.
there.
If it's not set up, then it's no.
Okay, no. That was I loved that, by the way.
Well, we're gonna have a hybrid because we've been talking to someone who like professionally makes menu boards, and I would send some of the information, and they very politely, didn't directly, but very politely, were like, "This is a lot of information," and I'm like, "Yeah." So we're gonna have a supplemental like printed or QR code menu that will have more descriptive things than it'll just be the names of our beers up there.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't.
And then we'll get into the finer points of bad behavior, volume 16, cucumber, and Brettanomyces bruxellensis. Will be like 3 tiles on this thing.
I know that we talked about it before, but like one thing I liked, again going to the bungalow, is they had theirs just on a sheet of like butcher paper that they would just pull down and like write, and it just like it was so quick and easy, and it worked really well. Another thing that I think who does it really well is Hot Butcher has like a pegboard that they just put the things into a pegboard.
Yeah.
And before that, Half Acre had one of those like fancy kind of like, grooved boards where you put the white letters that are kind of like.
I think the people we're working with might have done that board.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the artistic boards are cool too, but you have to have someone like write them all.
Yeah, no, we're going like, I think we're leaning towards like a magnetized board where it's just people can handwrite on what the beer name is. I don't know if you guys have people who are incredibly artistically talented that can make those tiles, and they do an incredible job. But I don't know that yet. We don't have a taproom staff yet. So
right, and honestly, that's something that they just enjoy to do. So it's
right.
That has been 100% organic. It didn't start that way when we opened.
Yeah.
I have old pictures. There's some old pictures like online of our draft board, and you can look at it. And if you look in the background, it's all just white, just like block letters, because people just started to just make them more artistic.
That's interesting.
And now people are like, "Who do you hire?" And it's like it's literally the bartenders, and it's changed over the years and stuff like that.
We had a meeting yesterday about the size of the tile thing that will be in there. And it's like some are too. If it's just the words, and this is too small, and if we're trying to put other stuff on there, that's not big enough. And so there a lot of decisions being made in that. Like,
those are fun,
not that it will tie us into
doesn't
down,
matter,
right? Not that it will tie us down forever, but
no, it won't.
They are things that you become very focused on for a very short period of time.
Yeah.
And then immediately it doesn't work, or it does work.
So Steve asked where he should check out in Chicago. Sure. I will say that if you're in Chicago, if you're doing like a brewery run, if you want to hit the breweries, you can hit Beguile, Dovetail, Hot Butcher, Demo, was depending on how soon you're coming.
Yeah.
Spiteful,
Forbidden Roots on that too.
Forbidden Root, Spiteful, and Half Acre. And you can probably do it by you could walk to all of them, but you certainly could walk to half, Uber, walk to the other half.
Yeah.
And when I say Uber, it's like a 5-minute Uber ride.
None of those are more than 3/4 of a mile from me. From the
Right.
The,
And
well,
some
the
of them
furthest
are
ones
like-
are a little farther, but like if you go in order, none of them are more than 3/4 of a mile from each other.
Yeah, and most of them are a lot closer.
If we're open.
Right. I mean, it's basically you Forbidden Root, Spiteful, Half Acre, and then
Right.
Hot Butcher, Dovetail, Demo,
Yeah.
and Beguile are all right there. And you got some great
Koval's
beer
in between,
bars,
too.
yeah, and Koval's there. You're not too far from Hot Butcher if you end up at Half Acre.
Yep.
If they're still in business after you guys open, yet another brewery tap room.
Yeah. We'll put them out of business.
Yeah, so I mean that's hard to argue with.
Right.
Outside of Malt Row, as they call that, what would you suggest, Mike, if someone was coming to Chicago?
I mean, this seems obvious, but Beer Temple.
Yes.
Map Room.
You're going bars.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of breweries. But we mentioned a lot of the ones that I love, and a lot of the ones you can walk to. If you got a car, go out to Goldfinger. I think they're making the best
Yeah.
lagers.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's not worth to go
It's
out
a
to the
day,
bars.
but there's some interesting stuff you do out there. Hit up Uncle Kim's Pizza, an Edmar establishment on your way back.
Yeah, you could
Some Tavern Style pizza.
get some amazing barbecue at Unane.
Yep.
Amazing barbecue there.
Check out Mars. Mars is a unique experience in a different part of town. Maybe hit a Sox game if you're down
And
there.
then you can get Maria's. Go to Maria's as
Maria's.
well. If you want to go to some of the more interesting or funky or cool spaces, you could hit up Off Color and the Bungalow.
If you're at the Bungalow, check out the Sawmo tap room. It's a nice, looks nice.
Yep.
They've got a $5 lose. I think a lose or old 77. I don't remember, but probably lose. Lose? Yeah, probably
Yeah,
Luke
and
Cold.
I'm sure we're missing places. I mean, there's plenty of places that are a little bit off the beaten path, like Alarmist and Old Irving. Old Irving,
Yeah.
great food, amazing cocktails.
Yep. Great beer.
Great beer. So those are all
You can
really good places.
If you have a car, you could drive to Scratch for if you have like 5.5 hours.
Yeah, if you got like
way.
5.5 hours each way, you can go to Scratch. They've been, semifinals or finals for James Beard Awards many times, and they make things with dirt and
Or you
bugs
could
in them.
Just come to the Beer Temple and have their dirt bug
Yep,
beers.
have their dirt bug beers.
Um,
We have a Sassafras dirt bug beer that we're just putting on for them right now. About to try.
what are some are there like hidden gem beer experiences in Chicago? Like are there places where we don't give them their flowers the way they should?
Beer experiences or
think-
bar experiences?
Craft beer and experiences. So either
I think
do craft beer experiences first, and then we'll do bar experiences. Outside of
I think you can get some really cool craft beers if you're conscious of dates. At interesting. Sounds like somebody's talking on the PA or something right now. At Rossi's
J-Max?
downtown,
Rossi's, yeah, Rossi's.
because they have a cooler you can just reach into, and you don't technically self-serve. You take because the cooler, they have a wall of beers,
yeah,
and then you take it out. You self-serve,
bring it
but
to
then
the
you
bartender
bring it to the
open.
bar, and if you open it, they get pissed off.
Yeah, because they'll lose their license.
So there's that, which is cool.
Yeah, Rossi's rocks. That's like that's what is that
That's
Streeterville?
in this loop, and a lot of times people
It's
when they
north
come
of
here,
the
they're like,
loop.
"I'm staying in the loop."
It's right by
It's River North.
the Corn Cob Towers. It's right by the
House of Blues. Yep.
It's the only place to go down there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So if you're there, I think that's where you got to go. If you're just north in that Viagra Triangle area, there's some places you got to go, but I would say Butch McGuire's definitely is the place that I go.
Favorite of yours,
Favorite of
especially
mine,
if it's Christmas.
especially. A special craft beer experience. Hop Leaf is pretty special.
Hop Leaf was very special. We didn't mention Hop Leaf before that. I thought that was part of the malt row thing. Yeah. Delilah's, great craft beer selection, but you can also get some of the best whiskey in the world, or you can have couple buck Jenny cream ales on depending on what day of the week it is.
Yep.
Or
get like an ancient Sierra Nevada celebration, like I mean, intentionally ancient.
Right.
So like, and when I say ancient, I mean like 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though some of the oldest beer I've ever seen, and lovingly cellared, intentionally kept and meant to experience as this thing has been aged.
Right.
I don't know. Other than that, in the city beer.
In the city, craft beer, you said experiences. If you're going to a Cubs game, you got to go to, I'd say, the G-Man or
G-Man, Lucky Door is good over there.
Well, it's
or
to me it's G-Man, Nisei, Sheffield's. Boom, boom, boom.
For sure.
Those are just great. Oh, you also have Guthrie's.
Guthrie's is great.
It's right there. They have great craft beer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places with good craft beer in this city.
Good little bar too. Like, great. This is a good city for drinking in.
Yeah, it is. It is. There's a plethora. There's tons and tons and tons and tons and tons.
I think
places.
if you're visiting and this is your desire to, like, you'll go to any of these places and you'll have a wonderful time.
Yes.
You're never going to do all of them. You have to live here to be able to like really experience all of them. I had a friend from Connecticut who was in town this last week. Shout out to Dan Hirschhorn, and big craft beer guy and beer guy dude. And he I was like, hey, when I was talking to him, like, you know, if we had a month, here's the things we would do, but you have 4 days, so here's what you actually should do. That came up in the context of Richard's, which is like not a craft beer bar by any means, but is a unique experience that I do once every like 10 years.
Right.
Bar you can smoke inside of still.
Yeah. Hey, I think that's about it. Anything else that we should talk about?
I think I'm good.
All right.
What about you? Anything you should talk about?
I think we're good.
Anything to promote? Oh, I did tell this place I would say this on the podcast. On I think it's July 2nd, we'll be providing the beer for a publican burger battle. So 2 chefs making burgers, and they'll be paired with 2 different Is Was beers.
Very cool. Yeah, I did that one
so
time.
I'm going to be out. That's a Tuesday, so I'm going to miss that podcast. So sorry. I also should tell you that. But yeah, that'll be a fun time. I'm not sure if they know what they're in for with how expensive our beers are and what we're doing with them, but they seem to kind of understand it.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Thanks so much, guys. We will see you next week. Oh, wait. I knew I was going to mess it up.
Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again. Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again. Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again.